Hi, it's Jessica Loomis with Infinity Insurance Partners. We are having a beautiful day here in Phoenix, Arizona. I think it's only like 81 to 85 degrees today. It's so beautiful, great golfing weather, but here I am actually here to talk to you about the wonderful world of audit. And this is mainly focused obviously on the construction industry. Because we fall short with our contractors when it comes to educating them on really what's needed for audit, and then our contractors are rushing and really not well organized when it comes to their audit. So there are a few tips that I always provide my clients that really help them through this process and educating them on what they really need when they are going through the audit. And so then they're not as stressed out and they're not struggling at the end to try to get this stuff put together before their audit. And if you're in that range of, maybe 5 million in revenue to 10 million in revenue, this is, I think, where we see the biggest struggle. And a lot of contractors are still kind of in that paper realm. They really haven't gone to the electronic realm. If you are in the electronic realm, then obviously you can do this you probably have a share file or a Dropbox where you probably keep this information. But for those of you that are still kind of in that paper world, not completely electronic, this is what I recommend to you. And I mean, obviously these documents are the documents you still also want to store in your share file or your Dropbox. And so this is so much fun. Here we go. How do you keep track of your certificates? Well, this is a binder, and you're going to label that subcontractor certificates and contracts. And you're going to have each little label and divider in here is going to have January, February, March, April, June, all the way through the year. And each subcontractor's insurance obviously expires in a different month. And so you put their contract and their certificate of insurance in that month that their insurance expires. One thing I think that a lot of contractors don't realize is that in standard ISO forms, it does state that if there's a contract and the wording is stated in that insurance and in the contract, then that's where the insurance then covers the contractor. And so not only do you need that certificate of insurance, you do also need a subcontractor agreement. So what I always recommend to my clients that are contractors is the first thing you need to be providing your subcontractor is a sample certificate of insurance with all the boxes checked, with the specific wording that you want down here, and the policy numbers, obviously the limits of coverage, and this is what you want to be providing to your subcontractors, and this is what it looks like. This also helps that person that is checking this information to make sure that it's accurate. The other thing is that subcontractor agreement, and I do recommend that if you don't have one, get one. Maybe even reach out to your insurance broker. Maybe they have a sample template. We do have a sample template that we provide all of our contractors so that they can look at something and let their attorney review it and make changes. And this is what you need to be providing all of your subcontractors. They need to be signing it annually. And those are the three main things that I recommend is that you stay on top of, because at audit time, the last thing you want to be doing is struggling to get all of this information, especially if you have a lot of subcontractors. The other thing that you really need to be cautious of, and I know that all contractors do this, they hire these sole proprietors, 1099s, and that's fine. But you can get here, at least here in the state of Arizona, a waiver on workers' comp, and it's a contract between you and that sole proprietor stating that they do not have any employees, and that they're not covered under workers' comp. And if you provide that to the carrier, that's a way that that payroll will also, or that 1099 subcontractors cost will be excluded from the workers' comp. And that is another item that you can ask from your broker. They should have a sample waiver of what it needs to look like that the carriers are looking for. The fifth thing that I think that a lot of people don't think about is meeting with their broker, either on a quarterly or every 6-month basis, about payroll and sales. And the reason you want to is you want to make sure that you're up to date and that you have all the proper class codes on your policy and you have the right, you're reporting the right payroll. If you are doing monthly reports, that's great, but also please make sure you have all the right codes with your workers' comp, because you could be doing something that you don't have a code for and you're just throwing it in a class code, and it might not be the right class code, and then you end up still paying at the end of the year. So these are some things just to stay mindful of, and you want to stay organized because you do not want to be scrambling at the end of the year for the audit. And this binder can be your best friend. And if you are up in that electronic age, then have a Dropbox and have each Dropbox folder in there. It'll be January, February, March, April, and keep everyone's COIs and their contracts in that Dropbox so that you can also stay on top of this stuff. Obviously, if you're a larger contractor, between that 10 million to 100 million phase, I would say that you probably have a team that should be dedicated to keeping track of all your subcontractor agreements, keeping track of all of those COIs, and even if it's 1 or 2 people, that is something that you should be doing. There are services available as well. Those third-party services can be a little more daunting because they are just box checkers, and it is a little frustrating for your subcontractors, but they can be valuable if you are a larger contractor. And so that is what I'm recommending, and I think that it's a better way to do things so that you aren't struggling at the end of the year to meet your audit requirements. So keeping track of your COIs, using a binder or a Dropbox for your COIs and your contracts, and making sure that you are getting waivers from your 1099 sole proprietors for their workers' comp because they won't have insurance, and also just staying on top of your payroll and your class codes for your workers' comp. And hopefully that will save you a lot of audit heartache, because the world of audits it can kind of be a nightmare and it's not very much fun. But if you're organized and you have it together, then those audits are going to go a lot more smoothly. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will continue to do more. You have a wonderful day. Take care.